Hello, Email Geeks. My name is Lauren Meyer, EVP of Product Marketing and Brand Strategy for Socket Labs. Today, I'm sitting down for a conversation with our Socket Labs Chief Product Officer, Brett Baer. I've got a handful of questions I'd like Brett to answer, including what lessons he learned about email when joining Socket Labs, how he's applied those aha moments to the product roadmap, and I'm hoping he can also give us a little bit of a kind of a sneak peek of what features the Socket Labs team has been working on. And let me tell you, as an email deliverability geek, I'm really excited about these, so I'm really hoping he's going to give you guys some good detail on that. For those of you who don't know Brett, he is the Chief Product Officer for Socket Labs. Before joining us in email land, or I guess deliverability land specifically, Brett spent more than 20 years helping startups, e-commerce firms, and global brands leverage new technology and techniques to drive growth for their businesses. And as far as I know, Brett has always been passionate about helping companies adopt a customer-centric marketing focus, getting the most out of their marketing efforts by putting the customer experience at the center of their email strategy. In fact, he even actually wrote a book on this topic, so go check that out. His expertise and hands-on experience in optimization, personalization, and omni-channel marketing are just such a great match for a role as a CPO of an email service provider, because he's helping us provide like a truly holistic approach to how we innovate as an email company. We want to meet the future needs of businesses who rely on email as a main driver for revenue, particularly for those who are not experts in email, who maybe need a little help, who are doing a million other things in their day. So thanks so much for joining me today, Brett. What do you say? Should we kick things off?
Let's go.
Right, let's do it. Okay, so you've spent the majority of your career to date in other industries, right? We're talking about almost 2 decades here, working for well-known companies, including CD Now, eBay, Monetate. So, email, I think, was a big part of your world, but definitely not the main focus, right? So how did joining Socket Labs change your perspective on email?
I was literally blown away. I could not believe the fact that so much about email was a mystery to me. I literally, in 2 decades, never even knew the term deliverability. It was totally foreign language to me. But what was even more amazing was the fact that I've sent a lot of email in my day, hundreds of millions of emails to people, and thought was doing a pretty good job. But really never understood the fact that there's so much that happens in between that point of hitting send, and then it actually ending up in the inbox for that recipient. And really just not understanding the fact that, I think so much of my career, the optimization has been the content, the message, who you're sending it to, their engagement with that piece of content and that email. But I never really thought about the fact that if they're not getting that message, they're not actually receiving that email, I'm probably missing a huge bit of the opportunity. And the fact that I just wasn't aware of this just blew my mind.
Oh yeah, and that's so interesting, and it's definitely something that I've experienced firsthand when I'm working for ESPs and third-party deliverability vendors. It doesn't matter if we're talking about small B2B companies here or retail brands that are literally sending to millions of recipients per day. These people are juggling hundreds of different tasks, and they're trying to optimize their delivery and their deliverability, and it's a really complicated topic for them, to the point where, like you were saying, they almost don't even know that deliverability is a thing until they're blocked somewhere, right? So I think they're missing out on those opportunities to really just crush it at hitting the inbox, nail your delivery, make sure you're reaching all of those recipients, and then delivering those beautifully crafted messages that you've been working most of your day on, right? So from a product perspective, I guess, what things should people expect to see from Socket Labs in the months to come? Like, I know we've got a new dashboard that's coming, and I think you kind of spoke to that a little bit, but we've also got an updated version of our internal stream score that we're using. I know we've got some really, really exciting plans for updating our kind of data reporting insights. We even just hired a really awesome person to help us with that, in addition to a data scientist. So what is all that going to end up looking like from the product perspective?
So one of the things that we've done recently is really, kind of getting back to that customer-centric approach. We looked at how our customers are using our product today. What are the features they are using? Where are they navigating in our site? And making sure the things that they need front and center are exactly that, front and center. They're easier to find. They're going to be able to get to the information they need quickly and efficiently. And I think about a car and your dashboard in the car, and it's giving you lots of information. Sometimes that information could really be screaming at you to take action. You have a low tire pressure or your check engine light comes on, you might want to immediately pull that car over and take a look. Similar to what we want to do in our dashboard. When someone logs in and there's an issue, we want to let them know that right away. And it could be their quality score has dropped dramatically. It could be they have some mail backing up in a queue. It could be all kinds of things. And all of that data now is going to be front and center and easy for them to dig in and access and get to that information quicker.
Very cool. Yeah, that makes so much sense, because I really think it's hard to know what you should be looking at. It's hard to know what to do with all that data. So it really is important to just be able to kind of keep people laser focused on thumbs up, thumbs down, you're good, you're not good. Here's where we think you can optimize and make a little bit more money or hit the inbox more consistently. Whatever that looks like, we really just want to help people streamline that process and really just know what they should be focusing on. One thing that we don't really talk about enough, but I think we should talk about more, is our proprietary Hurricane MTA, because I think it's one of those, it's versatile, it's kind of serving a part of the market that seems to be forgotten at this point. So what, from your perspective, I guess, what kind of sets that apart from some of our competitors?
I think there's a number of things. One, a lot of our competitors don't have their own homegrown MTA. So that is absolutely an advantage for us. And the fact that it's extremely flexible, we can do customizations that I know a lot of our peers cannot do. So I think that's a huge advantage. And it's something we're still tinkering with. We're still evolving it. We're still thinking about how we can turn it into a more valuable piece in the email food chain. As you know, Lauren, we're one of the few providers out there that have both a cloud offering as well as an on-premise offering. And I think there's a whole world of people that want the cost benefit of what on-prem offers, but don't want the kind of the overhead. And they like the flexibility of cloud and that infinite scalability and that flexibility. And so combining those two things in a hybrid product, I think, is really compelling and something that we're actively pursuing and working on.
I do love that. And so we've talked a lot about how much data is available within email. And it's one of the things that I love about email. So I'm curious, how are we using that data outside of, reporting? What else are we doing with that data to make customers' lives easier?
You were not kidding about the amount of data available around email. There's an abundance of data. I think the reality is, for most people, they don't need more data. They need more insight. They need to understand where they need to be taking action or changing behavior to get the most out of the channel. And I think one of the things that we're looking to do, and we have some amazing talent on the team to help do it, is really leapfrog some of the reporting side of things and really move more quickly towards that insight side. How do we give people the information that is going to really drive the end result that they're looking for, which is better performance, getting more mail in the inbox, all the things that they want, and not requiring them to dig through tons and tons of data. Today, it does still require quite a bit of human interaction to make that all work, but I think over time it won't. And I think we want to try to accelerate that path, and we want to get people there faster. And I think through better use of data, not more data.
Yeah. So notifying for a specific reason. I think that's beautiful, because it's like, you see these dashboards, or you see companies that are alerting you on every single little thing that happens. And over time, it just kind of becomes white noise. You don't really know what to look at. You're sort of just, I don't know, kind of just glazing over the screen. You're like, I don't know, everything looks good, I guess. So it really is beautiful just to have that ability to sort of just have data points kind of just raising their hand and saying, hi, I'm really important today, pay attention to me. So yeah, that's really exciting. Cool. All right. So I want to kind of shift gears a little bit. Something that our CEO, Tim Moore, mentioned in my recent interview with him was kind of this focus on providing more support to those complex senders, high volume senders, one-to-many senders. And I know we've got a really great team that's here to kind of help walk them through that process, kind of hold their hand, be that expert in the areas that maybe they don't have an expert. But from the product perspective, like, what does that look like? I mean, how are we kind of matching what we can do on the human side from a product perspective?
Yeah, that's actually probably one of our biggest initiatives this year, is thinking about that type of sender, a sender that is in many cases handling lots of individual senders, could be lots of different brands, could be lots of different individual customers. that they're in many ways doing what we do, right? They're managing all of that complexity, all the kind of nuance of what different customers are doing. And it's really hard. And I think one of the things that hasn't happened yet in the industry, and we're looking to change that, is looking at the world of email delivery and deliverability from their lens. Thinking about how they think about these problems and really understanding the fact that this is not a core competency for them. They've outsourced this part of their business because they know it's not a big part of their kind of focus. But the reality is it's a big part of the value in many cases they're providing to their end customers. So the other thing I think, which is a really big opportunity for us, is the fact that in many cases, whatever when they built the company or when they started to build their product, they may have set up with one of our peers to send email, but they didn't really think through what happens when they grow to a point where that solution doesn't make as much sense anymore. It isn't really the right thing for them. But they don't really have anywhere to go. Because we have all that flexibility, we can start you in the cloud, take you to on-prem, or we can start you in the cloud and migrate you into a hybrid solution. And I think there's a lot of people out there that maybe aren't thinking about this, but I think when they learn about what we're doing and the fact that there is potentially some greener grass over here, we would absolutely love to work with them and create a solution that is really aligned with what they're trying to do and their pain points, and really solving them from their perspective, not putting them in a situation where they have to basically tailor their business to work in that environment. We want to tailor our solution to be effective in theirs.
All right. Cool. Well, I think, honestly, we've kind of worked our way through a bunch of questions, and I know you've got some other meetings to jump to. So really, I just kind of want to finish on a fun one, if you don't mind. If you weren't chatting with me right now, I guess what would you be doing? What are you passionate about outside of work?
It's such an interesting question in the COVID era. If you're someone that loves travel and trying new food and all of those things, so that world has been greatly diminished for me. And probably the one thing I have been able to do a lot more of is my obsession with coffee, and in particular, kind of playing with different gadgetry from a more of an espresso kind of latte drinkers. That's kind of one of my many nerderies, but that's been the one I've been able to do, at least in the current state of our world.
Well, all right. Thank you so much, Brett, for your time today. Email Geeks, we've reached the end of this episode, so stay tuned. We'll have more fresh content hitting your computer screens very soon. Until next time, I guess, see you in email land.